So, good evening, bonsoir, bonne nuit. Hello, everybody from all over the world, wherever you are. I'm Dr. Mamegani from Switzerland, and I'm very thrilled to host my special guest from today. He's from the country next to Switzerland, from France. He's my first guest I will host from France, Dr. Vincent Challier from Périgueux in France, quite in the heart of France, and he will have a talk tonight about a very special topic, something we have never spoken before ever. And I have to apologize because I will face some terms, some vocabulary I'm not very familiar, not because it's French, but it's technical terms. They're not familiar. It's not the bone, it's not the pedicle, the trajectory. It's something completely different. And it's so exciting. And I guess we will have a little bit a look into the future, what we can or what we have to deal with in the future. And thank you very much, Dr. Chaillet. Thank you very much, Vincent, for giving us a talk about blockchain in spine surgery. And welcome to our conference. And thank you very much for spending the time late in the evening. It's midnight in France. Thank you very much, Vincent Chaillet. C'est possible de commencer votre session.
Avec grand plaisir. Thank you so much for inviting me and for giving me the opportunity to talk about data, blockchain, but also human bonds that are mandatory to create a strong data set and also to train AI agent, maybe to improve science, to change and to revolutionize spine care. But I would love to organize this like as a chit chat, and I would love to have your insight on that. Alexander, you're a spine surgeon. How many patients do you see per week during your office hour? How many patients, like roughly?
So me personally or in my team?
You personally, as a spine surgeon, how many patients a week?
I think I see 50 patients per week. Out clinics on the ward in the hospital, 50 patients, I guess. Yeah.
In the office hour. And how many procedures are you performing per week?
It is depends. As a main surgeon, let's say 5, but I'm also assisting the team. So actually 10 surgeries a week.
Yeah, between 5 and 10. So if we check your rough stat, it's basically as me, I see 100 patients a week. So I'm in private practice. I don't do any kind of university stuff apart from Spine Now and other project. But it's 100 patients a week, and between 8 to 10 patients, depends if I'm on call or not. So what we are doing, what we are showing is that we operate on 10% of the patients that we see in office hour. And basically, it's a huge burden for the patient because they are waiting for like 3 to 4 months to see you in the office, like on average. And for like 90% of the case, well, you see people on follow-up for sure, but like for 60 to 70% of the case, there is no surgery, right?
Yeah, and a lot of disappointment, waiting 3 months and then hearing what everybody told them before. It's no need for surgery, conservative treatment.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a huge burden for the patient because they are waiting 3 to 4 months to have this answer. As a surgeon, I cannot help you. Like putting screws, rods, decompressing the nerve will not help your damage, will not improve your pain or performance. For the surgeon, it's also a burden because you see like between 80 and 90% of the patients are not eligible for surgery, so you cannot practice your art. What we are taught to, I'm a spine surgeon from Bordeaux, and in Bordeaux, we were trained to go to the cadaver lab. We were a huge AO spine fellows, and we are trained to perform surgery. So to see 100 patients per week and operate on 10, it's kind of an inefficiency. And it's also an inefficiency for the payers. I mean, for the insurance and the state, they pay for inappropriate care, basically. So that's one of the first inefficiencies that we want to tackle. And the second one is um, I have my surgical patient, Alexander. Yes, I have it. I can put my patient to the OR. I can schedule my patient. There is another inefficiency. There is a high variability of surgical strategy for a given patient. And I saw some of the virtual spine conference, and for example, like fusion or non-fusion for degenerative spondylolisthesis, this is quite a debate, right?
Yeah,
Like,
ongoing.
yeah, performing open surgery for herniated disc or doing endoscopy. We have a WhatsApp group of like basically 70 plus spine surgeon in France, and every week there is like 5 to 10 cases presented by surgeon, and there is for a given patient you have from the micro endoscopy strategy to the lumbosacral anterior posterior reconstruction, instrumented reconstruction. You have a high spectrum of strategy for a given patient. But when we think about the fact that we perform an aggressive procedure with a high complication rate and revision rate, like for deformity, it's up to 60% complication rate, 30% of revision rate, and having a high variability in our strategy, it's quite weird in 2025, right? So we need to, it's also another inefficiency, and an inefficiency for the patient, for the surgeon, but also for the taxpayer. And then the third inefficiency that we identify is I love to see patient, and I love to see well-being patient after surgery in my office for follow-up, because they are super happy. In Perigord, they are giving you black truffles, ducks, wine. They are super happy, so I'm happy also. But if you think about efficiency, the well-being patient postoperatively is taking a slot instead of a patient that is in needs that have a sciatica. So maybe we could find a way to monitor this kind of patient to decrease the follow-up visit in real life. So from these three inefficiencies that we identified, we were like, yeah, let's do some projects, and let's gather some data worldwide, because we built a surgical network worldwide through SRS, through Aerospine, other meetings, and I'm pretty sure that you, Alexander, you have a huge network, and so we were like, how can we build spine surgeon community in order to have the appropriate data set, like a worldwide data set that we could labelize, and we could maybe uh, provide impactful solution for these three inefficiencies. And the journey began in 2013 for me, because I met Virginie Lafage in New York, and I had the honor and pleasure to work with Frank Schwab and all the international spine study group. It was kind of an adventure, and it's where I learned about data, radiographic data, put measurements, but also correlate radiogeometry with health-related quality of life scores, and performing Surgimap validation, working on SRAB classification. It was the first step. And then in 2020, we built this spine research community with Guillaume Longeon and Joseph Cristini, one of my closest brothers in spine surgery, and we were able to build this 50 to 70 plus French spine surgeon. And this community was based on a office manager, like the software that you use to produce medical record, op report, letter to the GP. And we use this software to also build a dataset silo. And we were able in 4 years to build a 300K patient dataset structured in the same manner in a CSV file with all their clinical and demographic socioeconomic data. And how did it work? It works super simply. It's like the patient comes to the office, he fill a consent form on a tablet, like on an iPad, and then he put all his data, like demographic data, socioeconomic data, clinical data, painkiller consumption, and then the surgeon put some data on the diagnosis, on the level of the damage, and also on the therapeutic project. And then if the patient has a surgery, you have the op report with all that kind of data, blood loss, the kind of implants that we put, complication rates. And then for the follow-up, the patient come back to the office and fill the iPad with satisfaction rate, return to work, etc. So we were able to build a pretty good data set. And then we had the pleasure to go to Vienna and at Eurospine to present our work. Unfortunately or fortunately, it's Sleman who won the best paper award. And shout out to Sleman Adab because he's a good friend of mine and it's an impressive guy. He come back from Japan. He did a really good work in Barcelona. And then we were like, how can we scale up worldwide with all of our friends, from Japan, South America, Saudi Arabia? How can we just create a worldwide community? And during I got the red pill, the infamous pill between 2021 and 2022. I entered cryptocurrency and blockchain, and I deep dive in it, and I discover a totally new narrative, the decentralized science. So talking about blockchain, in France, it's super scary word. Like you talk about blockchain, you talk about cryptocurrency, everybody's like, no, it's devil, it's like a rug pull and scam and stuff. But if you go back to the history of blockchain, at the beginning there was a cypherpunk, but the most famous thing is Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency that allows people to exchange money on peer-to-peer without a third party. So this was one of the first application of blockchain. And then so Bitcoin is 2008, after Lehman Brothers crisis, after the subprime crisis, and then Ethereum came. So Ethereum came in 2015, and it's Vitalik Buterin that created Ethereum. So Bitcoin is the reserve of value. Ethereum was created, it's a blockchain which was created as the world computer. And instead of exchanging only a cryptocurrency, Vitalik created a totally new ecosystem based on DAOs. So a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization that work, like all the contributors, work with what we call smart contract. It's automated contracts that are parametered at the beginning of the DAO with governance vote. So people are voting how works the organization, and what are the smart contracts that rules the action of every contributor. And every action is monitored inside the blockchain. So you can see the blockchain as a big Google Drive, and every action is registered in this Google Drive, and every contributor has access instantly to this folder and can see who contributed to what. So you have all the record and in real life. And all the contributions are incentivized by token. That's where the cryptocurrency comes. And this is kind of super transparent, because every contribution can be seen like from everywhere from the world through internet. And also it's totally immutable. When the contribution is done, it's in the blockchain. There is a hash, a transaction address that is written in the blockchain forever. And also it's based on incentivization and rewards. So I was
Vincent,
thinking, yeah.
Vincent, may I just have a question, because I prepared a lot for this session and I read so many things about blockchain again. So you mentioned that everything is transparent. What once was written in the blockchain can be, in a transparent way, can be seen by everybody. When I asked you who owns this data, what was your simple answer? Who owns the data you are putting into the blockchain?
So when it comes to healthcare data, we need to deep dive in the system, because this is the general rules. Every action is monitored. But when we thought about maybe we could do this for our organization, like using blockchain technology in order to be transparent, immutable, and with incentive, just to put people together, patient, practitioner, and researcher, to improve and to correct the inefficiencies. So, and then we immediately thought about what you said. What about the data? What do we do with the data? And then we talked to people in decentralized science and this new ecosystem in crypto, in the blockchain technology. And they told us, well, the data are not in the blockchain. The
Hmm.
raw data are off-chain in a secured silo with encrypted technology to protect the patient. It's the action on the data that are on-chain. And this is the beauty of the system, because blockchain technology protect patient data, and the consent form is at the center of the solution. So for us, the patient is the exclusive owner of his data. Nobody owns the patient data except the patient. I mean, it's not the surgeon. The surgeon doesn't own the data. It's not the software. It's not the institution or the insurance. For us, the patient is the exclusive owner, and he can choose with a smart consent form that is encrypted in the blockchain if his data is used or not, can be used or not, and if it can be used, what kind of data, at what extent, when, and by who. Because you need to know that a blockchain technology allows the total anonymization of patient data, but also record every action, and you can give a permission to use the data, because every potential contributor, can be institution or industry or surgeon or other kind of contribution like insurance, they have a wallet address, which is a series of number and letter. And if the patient say, well, I don't want the industry to use my data, so the industry contributors are not allowed to use this patient data. Or he can say, well, I just want this surgeon to be able to use my raw data. And so basically, it protects the patient, and the patient can choose or not to put his data at our disposal. And also, it traces every action. So if you are a researcher, all your action on data can be monitored, and you can be rewarded for this work, because we now we know what researcher, at what extent he contributed, for example, for a study, for a given study. Well, this researcher has a design. You can prove on the blockchain that this designer he designed the study. Or you can say, hey, this researcher did the literature review. There is a transaction in the blockchain that proves that Alexander did my literature review for my spondy fusion versus non-fusion. Or who did the statistics. Everything can be monitored in the blockchain. And it's quite fascinating, because we do believe that DAOs and DeCi-DAOs can disrupt the scientific publishing system. So
May I ask you, can you once again point out the difference between traditional science in this particular point from the decentralized science? So today we have registers in Switzerland. So we have got a lot of data sets. They were put into the forms. We are filling out many forms. We even pay for this form, so we don't get money, but we pay for using the register. And these data sets are somewhere stored in a server, and accessing the server. Yes, I can do it. I can access my data I have implemented in, but the patient is only giving one time a consent. Yes, I do agree that my data are stored in this register. It is mandatory, so our government forces us. We have to fill out these forms. And then some research groups can access this data and do some data mining on this registry. This is traditional registers and our data, just like you have told in the beginning that this iPad was used to fill out prompts and prems and whatever. But now, what is the difference? Can you just once again, for me, tell me what is the difference with decentralized systems?
So, first of all, I want to pledge traditional science, because I'm 100% comes from traditional science. Virginie has like 800 plus peer review articles, and I love uh, to dig in traditional science and all manuscript, because it's the basement of all our knowledge. So first of all, decentralized science doesn't want to destroy traditional science. It's two concepts that are totally complementary. So the thing is, in traditional science, um, the consent is yes, no, and the patient, he doesn't know exactly who can have access to his data. That's one of the first things. And then, in terms of publishing, we can discuss about traditional science, because basically, uh, if you want to publish in Nature, in open access, you need to pay. Like you need to provide super good science for sure, but you need to pay like around 12 to 15K to have your work published in open access. And if you want to read traditional science, you need to pay between 30 and 60 US dollar to have access to the PDF. And also, if you want to do a peer review on if you do a peer review on an article, then you receive some voucher. I don't know if you know about what is a voucher. It's like a coffee in a conference, and it seems to be some inefficiency in this system because it's 30 billion dollar per year business for the entire science, like roughly $10 billion business for medicine. And having this kind of system, we think that we can improve this kind of system by the blockchain, transparency, immutability, and incentive to incentivize researcher to publish, to incentivize peer reviewer, to guarantee a good truth machine, and also to incentivize the patient that provides the data. So that's also like the aim of decentralized science. It's to help traditional science to have another what we call another cap, another objective. Like what we want to do is to treat patients. What we want to do is to have like big data set and predictive model to have personalized care. We don't want to do randomized trial with 100 patients on our arm and 100 other patients on our arm. We want to be in 2025 now. So that's the goal of SpineDAO. It's to also perform research that could be in total open access, like totally free, and also to think about another way to publish science. Like, the static PDF, it's here since years. Maybe we could think about publishing science differently, maybe in a more dynamic way, with some videos, and maybe also in a more adaptative way for the reader. I mean, I would love to educate my patients through the science that we perform, saying, well, in your situation, I mean, you have this L4, L5 degen spondy. So what is L4, L5? What is a spine? What is a degenerative spondy? And what are the different techniques and why endoscopic decompression, in your case, is maybe a better option than 360 fusion. And I want this knowledge to be totally understandable from the biomechanical engineer to the butcher to the hunter, for everybody. And for us, this is a total paradigm shift because everything has to be redefined, and it's like super fascinating.
Yeah, we are living in a world of drawers.
Yeah,
There's spine journals, orthopedic journals, neurosurgery journals, outcome, technical journals, everything, and you have to pay at least for the access to every journal. So if you're more on the biomechanical research side, you have to pay for the clinical journals and vice versa. It's interesting, and this DAO allows access to any data, but who asks the questions and how do you get the answers? Do you go there and look and pick up, or do you use some artificial intelligence to extract the data, because when somebody from Argentina or from Japan or from a small country like Switzerland adds some data, who will find the correct connections between the cases?
Yeah, sure. So how does it work? It works as a tennis club. I mean, we are a Swiss non-profit association, and we are registered. I think we registered last January. And basically, if you want to join the Spine Club, you need to have tokens. And as a token holder, you can contribute to the DAOs with your ID, with your data, and with your insights. And how does it work? Basically, so we aim to build the biggest spine care data set. It's not about only surgical patients. It's also about medical patients, patients that goes to the physiotherapist, patients that goes to the chiropractor. We want to gather any kind of data, and we are building some prototypes, and we are thinking also about the regulatory mechanism that could allow us to build that. It's just the early stage, Alexander. It's just like the first days of the DAOs, and we are thinking together how we can do that. And then so we partner with an entity called Data Lake. It's an entity from Poland, and shout out to Wojciech Sierowski because he's a true great guy. And so Data Lake is a Web3, so blockchain. Web 1 was just the page that you can read. Web 2 was the page that you can read and also comment. Web 3 is a total integration and interaction with the World Wide Web through crypto wallet and blockchain technology. And Data Lake is a third party that we signed a memorandum of understanding like several weeks ago. And Data Lake will be in charge of the data storage, secure data storage in a silo that is off-chain, but also the on-chain consent form and allowing the patient to have total access to his data and also to set up the parameter for who can use the data. And if we are able to build this worldwide, like multidisciplinary spine care dataset, we are also coding for what we call AI agents. So I think that a lot of people know and heard about AI agents. They are like robots, like bots, that are doing multiple tasks that can be simple or complex. The best example is like Claude or ChatGPT or all these general transformers. And we are training our AI agent in two ways. And you have a first way that is the data-driven insight. So it comes from the data, and it builds predictive model about building specific pathway for the patient, like the patient that want an appointment. He can chat with the chatbot, and then the chatbot goes to the predictive model. The predictive model say, well, what you have looks like something that could be surgical. And then this predictive model goes to the smart appointment system that can go to the surgeon agenda and say, yeah, I can have an appointment within 5 to 7 days, so we can do some hierarchy. So this is filter. And then you have another predictive model that decides the surgical assistant that can suggest the appropriate strategy for a given patient. And then you have trackers, the patient that can monitor, the models that can monitor the patient outcome in real life. So that's all the AI agency from the data-driven insight. And then we have another branch, and for me, it's it's why I'm doing Spine DAO. It's this branch is the knowledge branch, is what we call Sapiens. It's building the world repository of spine science in totally open access, and you can check on our website, spinedao.com. You have a spine archive project. What we want to do is we want to have three kind of AI agent. So in this Spine Archive project, you have a digest AI agent. So you have like between 30 and 50 paper on spine care every day that are going on the scientific literature. So the AI agent take all the abstract and it does a digest, and you can have automatically a weekly digest of what was the highlight of spine science, or daily or monthly. And we want to perform a monthly podcast about what's going on in the spine field in terms of biomechanics, but also surgery, all that kind of stuff. And then we have another agent which is the engine. So we want to build PubMed on steroids, but only on spine care. It's already available, but we need also to think about how can we work on this engine to have the exact knowledge, the good knowledge at the right time. And the last one is Chronos. And Chronos is another one. It's based on the 2015 Nobel Prize of Medicine. Do you know the 2015 Nobel Prize of Medicine? I didn't know. Huh? It's a Chinese pharmacologist named Tu Youyou. So she went on very old traditional Chinese medicine manuscript, and manually she just worked on this manuscript, and she found this plants, this herb named Qinghang, and from this herb she isolated the adremycin, which is anti-malaria most efficient compound in the market. So what we want to do with Chronos is to deliver the knowledge that was not digitized, and all kind of spine care knowledge. It can be from the French Academy of Surgery. So we partner with the French Academy of Surgery, and I'm going there. I'm super excited. I'm going to the French Academy next Monday to see their old manuscripts that were not digitized, and we want to digitize this old manuscript on, for example, a spinal cord treaty from the 19th century that we already digitized, or all the theses, biomechanical theses in the École nationale des arts et métiers that were not digitized, and with our AI agent to read all this material, to do the synthesis of all this material, and to create scientific hypotheses, to drive impactful science. In terms of pain management, we need to find other cure for pain, because there is an opioid crisis that is just unbelievable, like not only in US, but all around the world. Also in the performance enhancement, preoperatively, postoperatively, all the nootropics that we need to discover, and also all the new biomechanical concepts that we could, history can be used to inspire ourselves in new biomechanical concept in the setting of spine care. So basically, that's the two branch of the AI agency, like patient data with follow-ups and predictive model, and also like all the knowledge that can be embedded through AI technology.
So when you can identify knowledge from the past, from the last century, or maybe back to Ibn Sina, from the golden age of Islamic science and medicine, we have a saying about the quality of data. We could always say garbage in, garbage out. Who
Yeah.
decides whether it's good data or bad data, or is your system just collecting anything and hopes to identify what is good and what is knowledge that is worth to be spread around the world, and what is maybe less quality data we don't have to mention too often. Do you think that AI will do this job for us?
Yeah, basically it does the job already. You have an AI agent that is quite famous in the decentralized science ecosystem, which is called yes no error, that is able to tell you if this study is powerful enough to make a statement from like all the standard. So you can have this guardian of the truth machine saying like statistically this is pertinent, like the methodology is robust, this is strong statement, we can put some weight in this study. And in terms of like the raw data for the patient, when we come back for the raw data of the patient, I mean, you can have the proof that it was the patient that put his own data on the system through very basic technology from fingerprint to other biological stuff. You can have the proof of the exact hour when he did that. For example, the tracker project is to monitor patients through Internet of Things, like the ring or some bracelets or some watch. And it's just the beginning, yeah? Because for now to track some patient performance and to have the like exact data is it's quite difficult with the device that we have for now. But I hope that the technology within some few months or few years will be like super precise and efficient to track the quality of sleep, to track like your heartbeat when you are in pain, to monitor when you are in pain objectively, and also to track your performance and the way you do physical activity, and also your progression in your postoperative journey. And we thought about maybe creating a heal to earn system where the patient can compare his performance to other patients that look like in terms of demographic, in terms of also in morphologic spinal damage, and also in terms of surgical techniques. He could compare himself and his performance to other patients that looks like him, and to know exactly where he is in the postoperative follow-up. For sure, to identify early complications like infection, biomechanical issues, rod breakage, etc. But also to gain more adherence to the postoperative program. Because as a surgeon, it's always the same. Um, we are working for an hour or for 45 minutes or for 2 hours in a patient. It's very punctual, and then the patient do all the work postoperatively. So if he has some incentive to respect the milestone of his postoperative journey, I think we can improve pain in performance postoperatively.
Yeah, so I remember we have had to talk from Ralph Mops from Australia about objective post-operative outcome measurements, and he was talking about these variables and what kind of information we can get via these information. And you tell us that when the patient got incentives to share his performance post-operatively, then other patients can meet or can get realistic expectations what to expect after a surgery, because then they can find a huge group of patients of similar diseases, of similar demographic patients, and then they can have a better expectation what will be life after surgery. Is this a little bit what you're telling me?
Yeah, and maybe build a patient community sharing their experience online about, well, today it was like it was a bad day. I mean, I had a bad sleep, I had this bad performance, and then you can use the social media and having a community of patients saying, yeah, 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 no worries. It's been 2 weeks. You had this posterior fusion. It's totally the usual. Don't worry about that. Did you check your wound? Wound is okay. Okay. Do you have fever? Fever is okay. Okay. So having this community and human bonds through new technology can also improve the mental of our patient, because as we know, spine is organic damage, but also it's 50% organic and 50% emotional, because it's the backbone. In France, we say, on dit pas par hasard, j'en ai plein le dos. J'ai les nerfs. I get nerves. You know, so if it goes to people language, you need to take in account also emotional data, and we need also to set up like a new batch of data assessing our patient, and use this new technology, and having the blockchain as a guardian of the data set, of the guardian of what are doing the AI agent. Because it's the same. You have a
Mhm.
lot of AI agents that are doing like stuff that we don't know. You put the cookies. I accept the cookies. It's a super tiny words, and people they accept the cookies, but they don't know exactly what their data are doing. In blockchain, you have a traceability, total traceability of the action on the data. That's why we think that using this technology, we will have like the big picture.
But all always, or just to remind, only if the patient gives a consent, a contract to share this information. So the data is still the property of the patient.
Yeah. And
So
he can at any time point he can say, no, I don't want my data to be used anymore.
yeah.
So
And
so
again, for me, because I'm an orthopedic surgeon, to to understand, all these data are not in the blockchain. They are off chain,
yeah.
and we can only see on the chain that there is any access to this data, but we won't find how the patient is today in the blockchain
Yeah, but
because it's off chain.
yeah, exactly, like the raw data.
Yeah,
And then the metadata, the analysis will be
yeah,
published through the Spine journal in open access,
yeah.
saying like
And
you-
and if I want to have my radiologic results, like the amount of lordosis as a surgeon, the same. I own this data as a surgeon, and I can um, put these data into these analyses, cage subsidence, what kind of implants are failing, all these surgical interesting, traditional interesting data can be found in the system as well.
yeah. But the thing is, you can think about also about a multi-expert labelized data for
Okay.
for a given patient. Alexander, you have 10 to 15 years of experience in the field.
Okay.
It's something that the bot cannot create. Your experience, your praxis, and this is true gold for computational scientists, because it's something that the robot cannot create by themselves. So if we are able to uh, labelize this data, because raw data alone it doesn't not mean anything. It has to be labelized. We need it's mandatory for the human to give their insight on this clinical morphological vignette. like there is a lumbosacral kyphosis. And then we will see also all the schools around the world assessing a clinical vignette quite differently because you have a lot of different schools. And having this insight is also like super interesting because it's human after all.
Okay. Thank you. So, and you have some more slides, Vincent?
Yeah, maybe I can share. Yeah, this one is for us. It's the economy of the system. So basically, now we are fundraising because the association need money to have partnership with third party in order to power our research project. So how does it work? You have the community on top, patients, practitioners, and researchers that are contributors to the DAO. So basically, they gather some data, and in rewards, they can earn spine token. And the patient can put his data at our disposal to have a medical insight of his problem through our AI agent, through our AI chatbot. So it will be the next project. And then it creates a vignette that would be labelized by expert. For example, a surgeon that can say, well, this vignette with clinical and basically the MRI report in PDF, for example, it creates a clinical morpho vignette. Well, this patient, it doesn't look surgical. And then you can have a pain manager saying like, well, this patient is not surgical, but maybe this injection could help, or this kind of exercise could help, or this protocol could help. And think about like a surgical patient. The surgeon can say, yeah, this vignette looks like surgical. And what is the pain generator in this vignette? Is it this L4, L5 extraforaminal hernia disc with a conflicting route? Or is it the central stenosis above? So what is the pain generator? And if he's a surgical patient, what kind of surgery I would perform if he was in my office? So all this metadata is also incentivized by Spine Token. So this labelized data powers AI agent. It fuels the AI agent and the predictive model. Out of this predictive model, we have our several products that the DAO can create. And when you have a product, you can build inside the blockchain an intellectual property. Intellectual property, industrial property now through like website like Molecule. It's part of the bioprotocol or incubator. And inside molecule.xyz, you can put a proof of invention and you can register it in the blockchain. So it's transparent, immutable. And then you can, so it's it's like a patent. And this patent on chain, you can put a non-fungible token to this patent. So a non-fungible token is a unique signature inside the blockchain that it's also transparent. It's like when you go to the notary or when you sign an agreement. So the signature is unique and it's immutable in the blockchain. If you mix a financial product with this intellectual property non-fungible token, you can create what we call another token, a token of industrial property. So with this industrial or intellectual property token, you can fuel and fund your different projects. Saying, for example, Alexander, he has 50% of the IPT filter, the solution that can have the smart appointment. So every month, because you funded our project, every month you take a part of the profit from this product. And then because the user are paying for the product. For example, I don't know I if I say, well, Alexander, you will see uh, 20 patients and you will operate on 15 or 20. Would you pay for this kind of solution to have more surgical patients in your office? Would you pay for it, or would you be
Yes,
interested?
yes, of course, it would be, my efficiency would be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was just clear. Is you this is very attractive for a surgeon to focus on surgical patients. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And also, for the 90% of non-surgical patients, we need to provide a solution. We need to fuel AI agent to say, well, in your case is not surgical, but if you try this, or I can take an appointment to a chiropractor, I can take an appointment to a physio, I can take an appointment to a rheumatologist, a pain manager, and then you will have the right appointment at the right time.
Yeah.
And for us, this can be like people can now me I would definitely yeah, pay for it, and this creates values, and this value go back to the contributor. So this
Yeah.
is the circular economy.
May I ask once again, when a patient participates and shares his data, these these tokens have got an equivalent in euros or dollars? Can you say that he is putting data into the system, into the blockchain, into the DAO, and then he gets something that is worth just like a dollar or $50?
So there is a huge discussion about that, because then we need to think about ethical stuff, like can I sell my data? Like, can I have money to have my data? So basically, the patient cannot make a living from the token incentivized. Because remember, we are a tennis club. We are a non-profit association. What we want to do is we want to provide appropriate care at appropriate time. Like, the interest of the patient is not to make a living from his data. The goal for the patient is to decrease his pain, enhance his performance, enhance his confidence, but also to find a community of other patients and to find the appropriate care at appropriate time. So you won't be able to make a living from your data for sure. But as a patient, you can also contribute to the DAO with your testimony, your feeling. Like we are working with Datalande. So Datalande, she's a patient that we will do the community management for in our Discord for the other patient. And also we want the patient to express his feeling about pain, about disability, like emotionally. We want also to open all this world into an ecosystem that is only about care, like who care about the patient, who doesn't judge anything and anybody.
But for some, when I looked at the website of Spindao, you mention how much money is in the healthcare system of today every year, and you are mentioning that we spent billions of dollars in systems. Um, what do you think? Is there somehow a value in this system in the end after you mentioned you're in the early phase, but in a couple of years, would you say that the whole thing is um, is worth an amount of money?
For me, money just fuels the project. It's a tool. I mean, It's not the endpoint. It's just a tool that we need to have to in order to pay our third party and to pay our comms team, to pay our marketing, to pay our developer, etc. How can it generate money? I think it can generate value first, and then we'll see if I don't know. Like you have like I would say 12 to 15K spine surgeon around the world. You have like 600 million people that are suffering for spine problem issues. So imagine if we can solve part of the problem, I guess that maybe we can have a solution for the opioid crisis. Maybe we
Hmm.
can have a solution for inappropriate spine surgeries because as a spine surgeon, and maybe it's the beginning in our generation to say, well, yes, there are some spine surgeries that are not appropriate. There are
Yeah.
complications in spine surgery, so we can spare money basically
I
to
like this. I like this ethical dimension you're mentioning. At least we are physicians and we have got a main job to do. This is helping patients, and the biggest problem you mentioned it in the beginning is knowing what is the best procedure, what is the best treatment.
yeah
Vincent,
having this
continue.
support from AI saying focus on your praxis. Like, do exercise. You're a spine surgeon. Do exercise. Take time with your family. Keep your mind and your mindset clear. Focus on praxis. And everything else, you have the AI support.
Mm,
You, we are like an athlete. Huh? We need to protect ourselves. Huh? We need
yeah,
to have like a dedicated time. And for now, it's like a lot of office hour, a lot of patient volume, a lot of something that like garbage could be like totally dealt by AI. And if we can make a little help for patients, but also for surgeons, because we
yeah,
know that spine surgeons are um, uh, you have a lot of pressure on we have a lot of pressure on our practice, 100%,
yeah.
especially nowadays with all this legal procedure and stuff. So yeah, let's use AI as a tool in order to enhance human bonds, real time with real patient, and to yeah to change all that. It is the duty of our generation, Alexander.
Yeah.
We
And
need to
yeah,
be the
it's good.
world community.
I got it. I got this. If I see 50% less patients, but mainly only those patients who are not surgical, I have more time for me to focus. This is a good idea. Um, Vincent, do you have a final slide you can show us how we can help your organization? You are one of the co-founders. You mentioned that you need to have a support to go on with your project. It's a non-profit project. I like this. It's a revolutionary. I like this. Disruption is always good. Maybe some publishing companies won't like this session because you're a little bit against the establishment, but we need this power.
No, no,
Um,
no, no. Again, the right word is we deeply want to work with StratSci for sure because there is a lot of things to do and we don't want to make war to StratSci. We want to build bridges. And I will finish by this slide because it's a slide of human face and I love those guys. They are like Virginie Lafarge, she like my old sister now. And I mean, we have so much stories with Bassel, Joseph, and Guillaume. It's like, remember, go to spindao.com, uh, go to our social networks through LinkedIn, X. You will have all the material. If you want to participate to the fundraise, it's open. It's on crypto. If you need some help to have like a crypto wallet, a Phantom wallet, to just to check the Solana system, don't hesitate to pinch me or to pinch anybody in the community. But I want to finish by this. This is a human community. We want to build human bonds, strong bonds with AI and blockchain as tools. There are tools like the CD, like the VHS, like the wheel that we need to use to enhance the human bonds and the human links. And thank you so much, Alexander, for having me, because it's a real pleasure talking to you. And I hope you can come to Périgueux, or I can come to Switzerland to have a good meal, to have and to share some good table. And thank you so much. See you soon.
Thank you, Vincent. Thank you. Yeah, this is not only the red wine from France, which is very good reason to visit you. I
Yeah.
love this. I love the slides. These are brilliant names. It is a huge experience. And whenever you have a project which has such profound, you said traditional scientists, traditional researchers. I know the work of Professor Lafarge since ages. I still use SurgiMap. This is so brilliant. This is profound human capital in this project. I like this. Thank you very much, Vincent, for giving us this interesting talk. It's so, yeah, it's not for nerds. It's so basic. It's so basic because it is touching every part of our practice, some frustration we have. And maybe we are seeing here some solutions for our future to make our work better. And if the work is better, our life gets better too. I love that you focused on this point as well. That is also about our life because we are under high pressure. Thank you very much, Vincent, and I will follow your work for sure on social media.
You will contribute for sure. I know that.
I
Just the beginning.
will do. I'm looking forward to contribute. And see you all together next week again. Let's have a look on social media who will presenting next week. And I say thank you very much, Vincent. Thank you very much, Spine Dao, for introducing yourself. And see you all next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you.